are here to discuss the end of the Book of Blood, Black Lightning, Season 2, Episode 7, The Sange. I'm Shanna. I'm here with the doctor and Dee. Unfortunately, Parrish could not join us today, but we are going to get through this. I'm like, get through it. That's what we're going to do.
Look.
All right. So we have reached the end of the Book of Blood. What did you think of the Book of Blood, Doctor?
Meh. Like, I'm glad to see our boy Gambi made it. Excuse me. I'm glad to see he made it, but there was just something about this group of episodes that was just meh to me.
What about?
I mean, I get that they're trying to expand the universe, and that's all good, but I don't know that this is the way to do it. And it felt we were talking about this when we talked about Supergirl, about how seamless and effortlessly they insert social commentary. This felt like Keenan Ivory Wayans and Don't Be a Menace popping up saying message, the whole episodes. And I'm just like, meh.
Yeah.
Just meh.
Okay, what about you, Dee?
I enjoy for some reason I enjoyed this episode in spite of itself. I mean, there were a couple of just random appearances by characters that and then there was a moment where, I actually had to applaud something that Jefferson was doing. But and there were a couple of things that just sort of bothered me. I'm like, okay, why would a character do that? But for some reason, I just enjoyed this episode in spite of itself.
So here's where I'm at. We concluded this book, and I definitely see the arc. I see where they were going, and they actually brought us a complete story, which has been the issue with these kind of like breaking up in these books. The episodes have felt weirdly paced, but I see it as a complete whole. I see where they were going. But what it also felt like getting to the end of this arc is that they had a very clear focus of what they wanted to do with the Sange and the Perdi and South Freeland. Mm-hmm. The rest of it still feels disjointed and incomplete. Like the resolution of the Gambi thing. I mean, I guess, okay. So if it really feels like Gambi was just sitting in this hotel room the whole time, and then last week's episode where he was, using the drone to follow Anissa and Jefferson and see what they're up to, this week it just felt like he was sitting in a hotel room waiting to be found.
I mean, listening to ham radio, like it's reality television.
Yeah. And then
what was that motorcycle he was drawing to? That didn't make any sense either. But okay.
It was so random. It was like he was literally just waiting around to be found this week. And then Lynn, her whole thing going into her deep depression over what happened with the Greenlight babies. And then this week it was like, oh, I'm helping out being a doctor. I guess I'm over that. Also, forgot I had another kid until the end of the episode.
When she disappears.
Yeah. And the Khalil thing, the two things to me that have focus were the Sange and the Perdi story, and then the Khalil Tobias thing that had a very clear arc. But the rest of it was just kind of... And then they bring back Grace at the end of the episode. Remember we said that Grace is having issues.
And then there was the random Henderson appearance.
Oh, but that made sense, and
it did.
Dropped the baby somewhere. Yeah.
Okay,
he just dropped the baby somewhere. His wife, he probably was thinking he was going to go home when family wasn't home. He dropped it next door with Henderson.
Mm-hmm. I was okay with that. But Henderson showing up, but also I get it because they wanted the Khalil arc to end with him and Jennifer leaving town. But I was like, remember when your dad's best friend was a police chief that lives next door? Mm-hmm. Maybe we want to send Khalil to him? Okay, I guess. No, we just want to hand him a random baby. Okay, never mind. Also, were the babies both girls or was it one boy and one girl?
Twin girls.
Okay, because at one point I felt like I heard Jefferson say, take him, to, like when he was giving the baby to Henderson. So
that might have been the slip, but when he was being quote unquote electrocuted and she started crying, he was like, there she is. Yeah. He was trying to see if she was still in the building or if they had taken the baby with them.
That's why I got confused. I feel like it's a slip because I know that a lot of times on TV shows, they use boy babies because boy babies tend to be smaller. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times they use boy babies, whether it's a girl or a boy. Born. So, yeah. But yeah, so it continues to feel disjointed. We're definitely going to move to doing these reviews at the end of a book because I want to try and give them the benefit of the doubt and see the vision before we critique it. But like I said, it's still disjointed.
Agreed.
So let's get into it. Let's start with, let's do the Sange and the Perdi and all the stuff with Anissa and her very sweet but heavy-handed speeches about mother-daughter relationships.
Do we have to? Can we not? We did.
This was truly a point where it felt like message. And then when it got to the end of the episode and they're at the gravesite, I was like, you mean Anissa's been talking about mothers this whole friggin' episode? Like she didn't remember this girl's mother is dead?
Well, no, they didn't know the mom was dead until they got to the gravesite. They got split up, remember?
But didn't Jefferson told Anissa because he found the bodies?
No, the bodies he found were 3 of the guys from the group. He didn't actually find the grandmother, grandfather, and the person who had left with the other baby.
No, that's what I'm saying. He found the body of the grandmother. And I think he told Anissa that.
That wasn't the body of the grandmother. Those 3 bodies hanging out, one of them was the grandmother.
No, not the hang. I'm talking about last week. Last week when he got to the car and the baby was missing, he found the body of the mom. And I think he told Anissa, and then Anissa didn't tell the daughter.
That wasn't the mom. That was somebody. So the mom was, the way they got into the car, the mom was in the center seat. She wasn't the driver. That wasn't the mom they found.
No, that was definitely her. Because I remember, because I pointed out that it was that actress that I really liked. She used to be on something else. So when she was dead, I was like, that sucks because I really enjoyed that actress. So Jefferson saw the body of the mom. Definitely.
But did he tell him?
I don't remember whether or not he told. I don't remember whether or not he told Anissa. But I was just like, this is really fucked up because Anissa has spent this whole episode talking about mothers and daughters. Well, and then they show up at this girl's mother's grave.
I don't think he did though, because when she kept asking, "Did you find them?" He was like, "No." I don't think he ever told them that he found the mom.
Because I was about to say.
Did he even know who the mom was? That's the other thing.
Yeah, he might not have.
So that might be the other issue. Like he saw this woman in the car. He didn't actually interact with them when they were talking. He saw them when they were on the run. He might not have known that was the mom.
Yeah. I was very annoyed with Anissa this episode. And I was like, that to me was just the icing on the cake.
Yes, but there was one really good moment involving Anissa.
When Jefferson told her to set up?
When she started explaining that theta wave stuff, and Jeff said, just please stop.
Yeah, that was good in spite of her, not because of her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a good moment involving her. I just applauded Jefferson just because that's been one of our complaints about her, is her trying to explain science stuff, and it just never sounds good.
At this point, I can't even completely blame the writers. At this point, I need her to speak up and be like, this makes no sense for my character. Because at one point, there was a scene with her and Lynn is checking out the baby, and then they see the silver stuff is attracted to the baby. Maybe a scene later, maybe 2 scenes later, she's on the phone with Jefferson, and he's like, Looker is coming. She's drawn to the baby. It's like she can sense them. And Anissa goes, what do you mean she can sense them? First of all, there's nothing confusing about that sentence. Second of all, you just saw the silver stuff being attracted to the baby.
Third of all, they told you that that's how it works. That she puts this stuff in these people, and then when they die, it goes back to her. Hell, you told Jefferson that, which is why he followed the stuff to Looker.
Why?
I think what I said last week holds. Somebody must not like Nefessa, because the way they're writing her character is just seems
somebody
oddly
doesn't like her
personal.
Somebody doesn't like her, and she doesn't love herself, because at some point, I just like, as an actress, just as somebody who knows my character, would be like, I don't think my character would say that. I think my character would be like, okay, like, what are we going to do? Or, you know, how do we stop her? Not, I think my character would put 2 and 2 together and come up with 4. Because, like, it's just really ridiculous. Like, the reason why I clapped when Jefferson told her to please stop trying to explain was because I was like, why would Jefferson ever listen to your explanations? You barely know what's going on half the time.
Right.
The one thing I will say was all this mother-daughter talk and Lynn and Anissa spending all this time together. It still shocks and surprises me how much Nefessa and Christine Adams actually look like mother and daughter.
Yeah, I see it.
Like, when they're in a scene together, wow. Like, that is amazing casting on that front. Because I bought it. I was just, like, looking at them. I was like, this is really sweet. Spending time with her mom. We don't really see this. So, yeah. The rest of it, though. Anissa can kick rocks. I'm so done. And then the scene with her and Grace at the end, when she's like, what's up with you? And Grace is like, I'm fine. And she goes, yeah, I know you're fine.
And then Grace said, corny.
Here's where I'm going to bring this up. Anissa talks like an old black man when it comes to flirting. And I'm 90% sure that's because an older black man is writing her lines. Yeah. So I feel like they're just not writing Anissa well. I feel like she sounds like an old black man. And this week, a lot of stuff came out about Salim Akil allegedly forcing himself on a woman, or having not completely consensual sexual interactions with someone. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know what's going on in that writer's room, but we've said in the past that, like, they're very weak when it comes to writing the women on this show.
And I'm feeling oh, sorry, there's an echo.
Oh, no,
yeah, there's an echo. Can you hear it?
I can't hear an echo.
Okay. I feel like there's a issue too, because they write her, like you said, like an old black man. I'm like, I'm not saying that there may not be some folks in same-sex relationships, women in same-sex relationships that talk this way, but the fact that you went with that as your default gives me kind of a hint as to who's writing this relationship, and I kind of have a problem with it. Mm-hmm. The stuff with, Salim Akil aside, I just have a problem with that too.
Yeah, I don't want to get too into that because we don't know all the details, and I don't know what the response has been from the thing, but it's just always interesting, like similar to the Kreisberg situation with Flash, where fans are saying, hey, there's just something off about how the women characters on the show are being treated. And then something comes out and you're like, oh, now I'm not surprised to hear that. Because this is what's going on behind the scenes. So, yeah. Well, we'll see how that goes. Moving on, Jefferson. I really, really enjoyed Jefferson's scenes with the Looker.
Yes, I enjoyed all of Jefferson's scenes, especially the loving reunion and my ship lives.
Your Gambi Jefferson ship?
Yes. I am so here for that love.
See,
I was so happy.
What I noticed about that
You're
scene...
my family too.
No, what I noticed about that scene was when Gambi was standing there, he was like, when he was like, are you going to let me in? The way Jefferson side-eyed the shit out of Gambi when he walked in that door, he was looking at him like, this bitch was sitting up in a hotel room the whole entire time. He was so annoying. Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that, okay, I know we talked about it last week with the segregation and South Freeland and all that other stuff, and how, you know, something that clearly happens in the South. There are still small towns that are very like white people on this side of tracks, black people on this side of tracks. But when they just went like full, why can't I say white pride?
Message.
I was like, really? Is this what we're doing this week?
Message. That's what I was talking about. I'm like, and the big ass Confederate flag. Yeah, because people who are, I mean, and it was in the most random place. It's just, this is a storeroom. You have them in a torture storeroom and you just happen to have a Confederate flag hanging. Really? Really? Is that really where that flag would have been? Come on. Come on.
Yeah, it was just so extra. It was just no reason for all of that. Yeah, but Jefferson, you know, getting tortured with his shirt off.
Woo.
I was here for it.
What was his name on Living Single? I forgot his name. Just
oh my God, Scooter,
yeah,
Scooter, Living Single, yes. Mm-hmm. And then also, I loved it because I guess they thought like his suit was what gave him the powers. So they had the electricity like running through him, and I love he was like, "It's not the suit." I was like, "Yes, Jefferson, hit me with these superhero quips. Love it."
I guess that part kind of bothered me because, like,
no, hush, Avengers Initiative, keep going.
No, I'm not. This isn't about Jefferson per se.
Okay.
So what I was going to say was, if he's got electrical powers, so if you're the bad guys, maybe another torture method not involving electricity might be effective here.
Look,
what I will say about that scene is what did not make sense, and I kind of agree with you slightly, but for a different reason. For her to say, "Oh, we're metas too," you should have known it wasn't the suit.
Mm-hmm.
See what I mean? So that was that line shouldn't have been there.
And she was all like, "I admire what you do for your people, the African Americans." When she said that, I died. Like, you're right. There are a lot of
someone that just isn't around a lot of black people. Just kind of like how Trump says it.
Yeah. No. Exactly. The blacks. This episode had a lot of good moments in spite of itself. Because I don't think that was supposed to be a comedic moment, but I laughed very heartily during that. She's like, "What you do for your people, the African Americans in Freeland."
Because let's keep it real. 30 years ago, she wouldn't have been calling them. 30 years ago was the late 80s. She would have called them black if she wouldn't have just straight up called them the N-word.
Mm-hmm. Clearly. Also, I mean, like what you're saying about them expanding the world. I'm really glad they expanded the world of Black Lightning, and we saw a different town in South Freeland and all that other stuff. The problem with this arc for me was the wrap up so quickly, because killing her, I know it was like part of it was you have to kill her in order to like release all these people from her hold. Mm-hmm. But I want to know more, like, why does she seem to not have aged? She seems so much younger than Jefferson.
Right. Is it kind of like what's going on with Tobias?
Yeah.
There was something else that kind of bothered me too, because in one of the earlier episodes, didn't she get pierced by something and just sort of shrugged it off?
She may have, but I mean
she kind of got impaled here and is dead.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I mean, pierced by something and a spinal cord injury is two different things.
Yeah.
There's that.
I wanted them to, like, I was really hoping that it would become sort of a Star Lab situation where they would like put her in a pod and study her or something, like use it to learn more.
You know, and what would have been good? Tobias liquor team.
Right.
The rampant anti-blackness flowing through those in her house.
That's what I'm saying. Because Tobias would have been both. Like, Tobias would have been like, look, I need you to control the whites.
I'm having these watermelon eating Negroes over
exactly.
But who would have been more anti-black? I'm still trying to. That's.
I think it's Tobias.
I think it would have been him, and she would have been like, "Damn, dude."
She's like, "Pump your brakes, dude. That sounds really racist, and I should know."
Right.
She's like, "There's like racism, and then there's what you're doing, and it's a bit much." Yeah. Like, why are they like this? Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. I loved Jefferson, his whole just on a rampage. I love that he was in the suit for most of the episode.
Yeah,
like he was just full Black Lightning mode, full superhero mode.
And him losing his powers made sense because he does have to recharge, and here he is in the middle of redneck nowhere with no electricity for now.
And then too, so we'll talk about that in relation to Jen's powers, because I like when they realize that Jen is missing and they go talk to Perenna, which, by the way, I still haven't figured out. Does Perenna know that he's Black Lightning?
I feel like she does.
Okay, because it still feels like Jennifer isn't being completely forthcoming about her powers and everything that happened with Khalil, and I was wondering if that's because she can't talk about her dad being Black Lightning.
I feel like she may be holding back because of that, but I feel like when they engaged her services, they had to come clean. Like, look, she's a meta because I'm a meta.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Exactly, because that was the thing when they're like,
I felt like,
go ahead.
I felt like Perenna's discussion of Jennifer's abilities. I'm like, okay, should we be trusting Perenna? Because she was like, yes, once her power comes to be. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, you're a little too giddy about this, sis. What's up with you?
Also, what she made very clear is that, and we've been saying this from the beginning, like Jennifer's powers are different from Jefferson's in that she generates the electricity, whereas Jefferson pulls the electricity from somewhere and is able to focus it. She generates it.
Yeah.
Jennifer's more powerful than any of them.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that she and Perenna had been, continuously talking, and because I was kept trying to figure out, wait, how is when Jennifer was able to do that thing with her powers, which made it seem like she'd been practicing on it, really working on it. I'm like, wait, when did she ever do this?
I think,
and I guess this off screen something.
She's been in therapy the whole time.
Yeah.
But they haven't really shown the therapy, at least on screen, is what I'm saying.
I don't know that they needed to.
There was definitely an implication of a time jump between the first and second episodes of these books. So like in the first one, or like, no, before the book started, there was an implied time jump that like Lynn had been working for weeks with Dr. Jace on the Pod Kids. that it had been some time since Tobias had been released. So there was like an implied time jump. I do wish we had gotten more with Perenna, because this is the first time we've seen her since this new chapter started. So that was a little bit annoying that this was the first time. Because like the last time we saw her, she was just finding out about Khalil. Like she was literally like, Jennifer was like, Khalil, and she's like, who's that? And we were like, what the fuck? Like that should be a really important part of the story. So I was a little bit surprised by that. But yeah, this revelation apparently that everyone else has finally realized that Jennifer is more powerful than everybody else. So like, what does that mean also in terms of she's not ready to embrace these powers. She still doesn't know how to control them. And they technically can't help her because they don't understand how powerful she is.
Right.
Yeah, so Khalil is running from Tobias, literally, because he doesn't want to kill the Reverend. And he comes to Jennifer all, you know, I'm going to have to leave, and, you know, things can't ever go back to the way they were, blah, blah, blah. And she's all like, I'll always be here for you, whatever you need. The scene with Khalil and the Reverend in the church. Again, like scenes that I don't...
Davis, full Clifton Davis.
I feel like these are scenes that are not supposed to be funny, but I laugh. He's all like, boy, if you don't get out of here, I'm going to beat the brakes off you.
Oh my God.
It's just the worst. I'm like, why? Why are
like,
they
this
so
old black
extra?
man didn't get to be an old black man in the hood without packing. Come on.
Right. Pretty much. Like Khalil's trying to like convince him to just like leave and let Tobias have the church, and like he's like, no. He's like, it's not gonna happen. He's like, I'm too old and black. He's like that old black man who's like refuses to leave his house during a storm. Like, I'm gonna die right here. Ain't nobody gonna take the Lord gonna take me before Tobias takes me. Like, why? Oh. So he calls Jen, and Jen reveals her powers to him, which was actually a really sweet scene. And the minute it happened, I was like, oh, they're gonna be in love forever now. Because that's how this works with teenagers. Like she just revealed her deepest, darkest secret, so they're going to be in love forever.
How long before he makes puts two and two together and realizes who Black Lightning is?
I mean, with this show, we don't know. It could turn out that he is super smart and he'll figure it out next episode without any indication of why. Or it could be another 10 episodes before he puts two and two together. We just won't know. Because that's how this show works. It's like he could be like Henderson and tomorrow he'll figure it out.
Or he could be like Lynn on Supergirl and there's 2 whole seasons before he figures it out. Right? And given that Lena is smarter than Khalil, I'm banking on the latter.
And actually shows that she's smart.
Yeah.
So we have proof that Lena is smart, but she still hasn't figured out that Kara is Supergirl. Besides both of their like very blonde, shiny hair. But whatever. Oh my God. Yeah, so the two of them run away together, which here's what I like about it. I like that it, just story-wise, it is a really good conclusion to where the Khalil and Tobias thing ended up. Because we watched 2 episodes of Tobias terrorizing Khalil, him finally getting to a point of, I have to get away from him. And then by the end of the episode, he's getting away from Tobias, but also it's starting a new arc because they're running away together.
Yeah.
And we've also watched her over the past 2 episodes get more and more frustrated, feeling like she's locked up, feeling like she has nowhere to turn, no one to turn to, turning to Khalil, who feels comfortable. So again, like, I like it. Like, if you just look at it, beautiful arc. And it gives us something to look forward to in the next chapter. This is how storytelling works. People out there, fans.
Oh God. Okay.
That is how storytelling works. But there's no but. It's just, I would like that to happen with other characters on the show. For them to set something up, take us through it, it reaches a turning point, and then we set up something for the next couple of episodes. Why is that so hard? No one. Okay. All right. So
My ship lit.
I was gonna ask anything else that we want to discuss other than Gambi, were you getting all hot and bothered by James Remar in that tank top and that t-shirt?
Look, he was ready when his boo showed up. Yes.
I will say that, you know, for an older gentleman, James Remar is rather fit. So.
They hugged and cried it out. It was so beautiful.
Okay, but what happens now? He still stays in that hotel until they figure out who was trying to kill him?
Yeah, he said that it was best for him to stay dead until they figured it out.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, hugged it out, but you still can't come home.
But now that Jefferson is aware that he's alive, they can work. I mean, obviously, Gambi still has his remote tricks that he can use to help Jefferson out. Yeah. So
I just wish that it had been, like, honestly, like the Sange and the Perdi and all that was cool. But this arc, given how it opened, could have literally just been Jefferson and Anissa trying to find out who killed Gambi, and then finding out that actually he wasn't dead.
Oh, I agree. But do we really want like hours of Anissa?
We still got it though. We still got it. It's like, so waiting for her to be like the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
I hate you. Look, she started talking, and I'm like, they did not do this. They did not fucking do this. And then when he said that, I'm like, thank God it was a joke. Because I'm like,
it's like they wrote the Jefferson line like they don't write Anissa's lines. It was like Jefferson is saying what we all want to say to Anissa, but you're also acting like you don't write Anissa's lines in the first place. You could make her better.
And they acted like all of Anissa's stuff in the past was for jokes when they know good and damn well it wasn't.
It was not.
It would have worked better had they been written all the other sciencey stuff that Anissa has said and done, like the punchline. Mm-hmm. Y'all were serious about it. So no, you can't make it a punchline now. Nope.
Not at all. So
at some point they're probably someone's gonna make a YouTube video of Anissa explains science. And it's gonna go on for much longer than it needs to, and we're all gonna groan and maybe get a good laugh out of it.
Oh my gosh. I would actually love that. Please do a supercut of Anissa talking science things.
You do that, I will report you for hate speech.
No, I want it. I want it, and then I want to send it directly to the Black Lighting writers' room and be like, this is what you wrote. This is no one's fault but your own. Like, at least on Flash we get science circles.
Going to a con or something.
I will play
deliver it to
them. I will literally play it for them. Like, I mean, honestly, at least on Flash we get science circles. But we also get Kaylin asking, what's the singularity? I'm telling you, I'm not, allegedly Don't sue me, don't come for me. But when we notice these things in front of the camera, usually there's some wonky stuff going on behind the camera. That's all I'm gonna say. Anything else?
No, I think we covered it all.
Okay. So we will be back. The next book is the Book of Rebellion. The Book of Rebellion, which sounds about right for ending with two teenagers running away. The Book of Rebellion, Chapter 1, Exodus. So we will be back probably at the end of that book, which I think I believe it's 3 chapters.
Is it 3? Okay, because the wiki only shows 2, but then it may just have not completely updated it yet. So
yeah, also because I think they're gonna take a break. I think after December 11th. So maybe we'll come back for Book of Rebellion Chapter 2. But we're gonna try, we're gonna try and do these in chunks because I really do feel I want to see the vision. Y'all.
Oh, also, for what it's worth, I believe they're moving Black Lightning in January to Thursday.
Oh, are they? I mean,
I believe
if I'm
I've
being
read that
completely
somewhere
honest,
on a fairly reputable site. So
I don't.
Well, it doesn't impact our recording schedule, but it's good to know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't usually watch it till Thursday or Friday evening anyway. So for me, that won't be that much of a leap. But yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how the rest of the season shakes out. I'm always very excited about what's happening with Jennifer. I think her character, for me, this season has been the most consistent and the most interesting. At this point, I just believe Anissa needs new writers.
So we assume that at least the action is going to follow Jennifer and Khalil.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think it's going to sort of be a mass change in venue?
Well,
in terms of going from, say, Freeland to, we'll say, Atlanta, just for kicks and giggles, but because I don't see them coming back willingly unless something really drastic happens, which I'm not seeing. But
well, we're moving towards Christmas, so I'm sure whatever brings them back will probably be about that. It'll probably be like one of those like, Jennifer,
I miss my family.
Yeah, you have to come back to your family. It's the holidays. I'm also
or Tobias threatens his mama because I'm like, you leaving without your mama?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it's also gonna be because the first one is called Exodus, so I'm wondering if next week's gonna focus on both Jefferson and Lynn trying to find Jennifer, but also Tobias trying to find Khalil. So it might be like these two different forces trying to find them for different reasons, which I think would be interesting. Mind you, I have not watched the preview for next week, so I honestly don't know. This is all me guessing, and this is what I would do if I was writing the show. Which, by the way, hey, over here, would gladly write this show. Or at least do oversight.
Or at least just have them give you Anissa's.
I was going to say, you wouldn't have to worry about a sex scandal if you hire her, so just throwing it out.
I'm just saying. I mean, unless you want to call me thirsting over Chris Evans some sort of scandal. But that's about as rough as it's going to get for y'all. So I would gladly come along and consult. Cause
at least have them give you Anissa's lines. If they just did that, I'd call it a win. So.
Can I just write for Anissa? Just she has her own writer over in the corner. Like whatever y'all put together, I'll just go through and tweak it and make it not sound heinous. How about that? Lord. I like this show. I just also want to reiterate. I enjoy this show.
I enjoy it, but it's starting to tamper with my nerves a little bit. I'm going to be real transparent with y'all. And I don't like stuff that I watch to become mature. So
Yeah.
they need to be very careful. I will
Tread
stop
lightly.
watching.
Tread lightly. All right. So we will be back not next week, but probably the following week. And also, Elseworlds is coming. Can't wait. Cross over, cross over, cross over. Oh my god, this weekend I was at Heroes and Villains, and Stephen Amell was there, and the usual. Oh, it was Heroes and Villains / Walker Stalker, so it was a lot of the Walking Dead people as well. Cool. But I got to talk to Jess McCallan, who plays Ava on Legends. She is awesome. She's so nice and so sweet, and isn't just an actress. She's also a writer and has like directed her own short. And she was just like the sweetest person. And we just talked about Hallmark Christmas movies for like 10 minutes.
Don't soft pedal it. Tell them how she introduced herself, because I think that was adorable.
So we're like talking, because I was like, oh, I saw you in Married by Christmas, and so you were talking about Hallmark Christmas movies, and she was like, yeah, because she's like, I don't know if you like watch Legends, or I was like, yeah, yes, ma'am, I do.
like, do I watch Legends?
I'm like, yes, I watch it.
How much time do you have?
I know. I was like, actually, the woman's gonna make me move on soon, but like, obviously, I watch Legends. Like. Oh yeah, she was just adorable.
For those of us unaware of what Heroes and Villains actually is.
So Heroes and Villains is a convention that was started by Stephen Amell. Basically, he saw Walker Stalker and he saw how much money they were making. And he was like, we can do the same thing with people from superhero shows. So it tends to be mostly people from like the DC shows, the DC CW shows. And a lot of them also overlap with some other shows. It tends to be like the DC TV shows, Runaways. Last year they had some folks from the cast of The Gifted. They've had folks from Once Upon a Time. And this year they did it, Walker Stalker and Heroes and Villains, the same weekend. So it was all in the same place. So this year was a ton of Walking Dead people. I also met Kari Payton, who plays Ezekiel on Walking Dead, and Garrett Dillahunt, who's on Fear the Walking Dead. But he was also just in Widows, so we actually talked about Widows. Cool. So yeah, it was really cool. It's probably the chillest convention I go to, because I don't go as press. I just go as a fan, and I just kind of wander around and talk to people. So yeah, and also Lord Mesa, who's one of my favorite artists. If you follow him on Twitter or Instagram, he does a lot of the drawings of the DC TV shows. He does them kind of like in this like little kid kind of animation style, which is really adorable. So I got to talk to him for a while, and also it turns out he's like a friend of a friend kind of thing. So yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. You can pay for like the autographs and all that kind of stuff. I usually just walk up and talk to them. They're all pretty cool about just doing like meet and greet, and you don't have to pay for that. So yeah, it was fun.
Cool.
So hopefully they haven't really had much of the Black Lightning cast involved in that, and I think that's mostly because they filmed so far away. Yeah. But if they're doing Walker Stalker with Heroes and Villains, like most of the Walker Stalker Walking Dead people are coming from Atlanta anyway, so maybe they need to get more Black Lightning folks. So I also complimented Candace Patton.
Here's an idea: do a Walker Stalker / Heroes and Villains in Atlanta.
Oh, they do it. They do Atlanta, San Jose. They do one in London now. I think Chicago and New York. They have a couple of locations. San Jose was the first one though. So they always kind of come back to San Jose every year. Brandon Routh was there with his wife. They were cute. They were doing like little side-by-side autograph signings, and you could get pictures with both of them together.
Aww, they are so adorable.
They were so adorable. Oh my God. You could also get a picture with Katie and Jess, like, get your little Sarah Ava selfie. Again, I was not paying a lot of money, so I did not do that. But it was super cute. They put people. John Bernthal's line was like out the door. Stephen Yeun's line was like out the door. Yeah, Stephen Yeun was actually right near Stephen Amell, and his line was longer. That made me so happy for some reason.
All I know is that people were cracking jokes about all these cancellations of the Marvel shows. Mild tangent here real quick.
Oh, yes.
And they're like, well, they haven't announced Jessica Jones or Punisher. I'm like, and they're not going to until after those shows air. What sense would it make for them to announce before the last seasons of those shows air that they've been canceled? Because then ain't nobody going to want to watch them.
I really need people to use their common sense. A lot of people may not
want to watch them because of it.
I really, really need people to use their common sense when it comes to all of these things. I also saw somebody talking about, I guess he's like one of those like big reporters for one of the like TV Guide or something like that. And he was saying that Disney Plus probably isn't going to pick up the Marvel TV shows because there's like a contentious relationship between like Marvel Netflix and Marvel TV and regular Marvel, MCU Marvel. And
I don't think that's the reason. They don't have to. They own it. They can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah. And that's my thing is like, I don't think if they do pick it up or like if they do something with them, it's not going to be the same. I don't think they're going to do the same model that Netflix had of having like the individual seasons of anything. I think if anything, they reimagine it. Or not reimagine, but like pick it up as like Heroes for Hire or Defenders or, you know, like this weird assumption that Disney, Marvel wouldn't use these characters. Like they're still popular shows. Like, and people, for the most part, I would say other than Danny's casting, but again, I like season 2 of Iron Fist. I was like, for the most part, people like who they've cast as these characters. Like people love what's his name as Matt Murdock, Charlie
Cox.
Yeah, Charlie Cox. They love him as Daredevil. It's just the same way people feel about John Bernthal as Punisher. They love John Bernthal as Punisher. Yeah, and now we're finding out that like they're doing these TV shows for Disney Plus that are gonna have the original actors from the movies. Like, I just see them reimagining it. They're gonna find a place for these characters. They know people like it and they own them. So why not?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think everyone needs to. Disney got this. Marvel has this. You go worry about your friends over there at WB. Because they are confused.
Listen.
But like my people over here at Disney, they got this. Let them hold that down. Everybody, you stop worrying. and just give whatever they're going to
My thing is this. In 10 years, has Marvel disappointed? In 10 years, has Marvel disappointed?
Nope.
Like, deeply disappointed? Like, I know some people had issues with a movie here or there, but in terms of deep, abject disappointment.
No.
Thank you. So
and then when it comes to Marvel, quote unquote, disappointing people, it's always on some like extra you had to dig deep shit. It's always like, well, I really felt that this and this and this wasn't correct.
That's how I feel about it. So, yeah.
It's never like a universal, like, we just know this was bad. It's always like, well, if you really want to go into it, it's like always some like extra deep dive shit.
It wasn't Justice League Flash struggle run, Henry Cavill struggle stash bad. Yeah. Come on.
So I like this. People move the goalposts when it comes to Disney and Marvel, and so I'm just not interested in it. Just let them do what they do. It's like people are like, when is the trailer for Avengers 4 gonna drop? It could drop like 2 minutes before the tickets go on sale. Guess what? You were gonna buy the tickets anyway. So it doesn't matter. I was like, honestly, I could see them not dropping a trailer for it until after Captain Marvel, and that's in March. Because they know they got your money. Like, what do they have to rush for?
Right.
They could literally be like, Avengers 4 tickets are on sale now. People would buy them. That's the trailer. Exactly. That's the whole trailer.
That's the whole trailer. It's going to be a title card. Tickets on sale now. It's going to be 10 seconds. That's it.
No, this is what they should do. And this is how fucked up that they are. And we would still buy the tickets. It could say Avengers 4. The title card dissolves into dust. And then it says tickets on sale now. And my ass would still be on Fandango immediately. Y'all calm down. Let Disney do what they do. Just start giving y'all ties.
Should we be concerned about Aquaman?
You know what's funny is not Disney, yeah. Sorry. WB, I just watched that trailer this morning, the new trailer. It don't look like a bad movie, but you know what else I said that about? I said that about Batman versus Superman.
Here's the thing. The reason why we shouldn't be concerned about Aquaman is because nobody is going to see Aquaman. We're going to see Jason Momoa.
I'm not going to see shit. I'm not giving him my money.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, for the people who are going to see Aquaman, they're going to see Jason Momoa. They're not going to see Arthur Curry Aquaman. They're going to see Jason Momoa in water. Like,
look, and Jesus be a picket line if y'all give a whole movie and that man ain't shirtless for a good deal of it.
Exactly.
I see a little too much clothing in these trailers.
Exactly.
I'm just throwing it up there.
People are going to see Jason Momoa in water at the end of that 90 minutes to 2 hours. When you leave the theater, they should just ask, was Jason Momoa in water? And when you say yes, yeah, and when you say yes, then they'll be like, it was a successful film.
Because look, they keep showing that end credit with him in the orange and yellow, and I'm like, ain't nobody here for that, dude. Ain't nobody here for that. You could have left him topless in the sub for 2 hours, and you might have got my ass in the theater. I'm just going to throw it out there.
All I needed was Jason Momoa with his shirt off and some mermaid leggings. Like, I just... why... They could have been them the like cheap ones you get off of Alibaba. Like, what are we doing? Are people expecting more than that? No. And I'm going to thoroughly enjoy myself in the theater. Just like I kind of thoroughly enjoyed myself watching Justice League when I didn't think about it and I was just focused on Jason Momoa and Henry Cavill not wearing shirts.
Look, that was the best 5 minutes of the movie was, Henry out that shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that was only 5 minutes of the movie worth watching. That's why I always watch it on YouTube and leave the rest behind.
Exactly. Everyone lower your expectations. If your expectations were somewhere more than Jason Momoa in water. Because, again, that's my whole expectation. So, I know what I am excited to see, Into the Spider-Verse.
Listen, oh my gosh, that trailer's like, okay, when's it come out? Is it out now? Nope. Oh, damn.
I know.
Look.
Like, the only reason I'm excited that it's not coming out until the 14th is because I have a shit ton of work to do for like the next 10 days. So I'm like, oh, good. By the time it comes out, everything will be done and I can just enjoy it. But otherwise, I'd be like, can it come out tomorrow? Because I really want to see this movie. So, yeah. Christmas is going to be fun. Because between Aquaman, Into the Spider-Verse, and then all of my, Oscar bait films that are coming out, it looks like a good season to just sit in the movies. Okay, this has devolved into an episode of Mailbag. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be back in a few weeks. Go buy the new Riri Williams Ironheart if you haven't done that yet. And we will be back to same black time, same black channel. Bye.
Bye.